Good evening, everyone. So, I want to entertain you with a story that you already know, and still I would want to do it probably. And I have some way I want to, in terms of biology or even philosophy, I would want to touch upon this subject in every course that I actually teach. The story of the alpha. I hope you know the alpha. I mean, if you know, some people are described as alpha male, something like that. It's a kind of stereotype that they are the dominant people and so on, right? I want to discuss something that is related to biology, evolution, and then I would want to go into the subject. So it's mostly, you can take it as entertainment. If you're familiar with National Geographic or Animal Planet, you must have learned enough of these stories anyway. So there is an alpha. Alpha is the leader or the king, and it rules over its pride of females. That means a group of lionesses, and it has to take care of the lionesses and the child. What does it have to take care from? Most hunting is done by the lionesses. Occasionally, when the size of the prey is too big, that is when the lion actually makes an effort. It is powerful, it's bigger than a typical lioness, and it has to defend the pride and the cubs from other male lions that may come from the outside. And that's the king. His life is good because he has so many females around that he gets to mate with and reproduce. Every organism, or even when I say organism, they are usually multicellular and so on. Even bacteria is an organism, single celled. You can count acellular propagating entities like viruses, plasmids, even viroids. What is common with all organisms and these is reproduction. Every organism is trying to reproduce. That's simply the essence of life and the purpose or biological purpose of life. And in that sense, alpha has so many females and it is actually it is mating. It is the only male around, the strongest probably, and it is getting all the reproductive rights. That's a perfect life if you talk in terms of most organisms. And it plays with the cubs, it takes care, it does some things. Then life of alpha is much more peaceful. But occasionally, what happens is that, I mean, if not occasionally or naturally, so this is our alpha, and you think of all the other females, and it has the offsprings coming up, and there will be multiple offsprings, right? These are the children of the alpha. So you have to remember there are male and female, and the objective of both these is to reproduce. And they both are required for reproduction to happen. Male alone cannot reproduce, female alone cannot. The goal of male and female is to reproduce, and they both are required. And we are trying to see the interplay between them. This is our alpha. The story is about the alpha. So if it is female, it will become a part of the pride, and the the alpha will have reproductive rights over everybody, every female. But then the males are there. Males also want to reproduce the other males. So as the males are getting growing and they are about to reach adolescence or something, the alpha becomes the father, kicks them out of their home, of their pride. They're ousted, something like that. They are sent out of the pride. If the alpha allows, then these two these two males, the next generation one, they might combine together and fight with the father and dethrone the alpha, and one of the two siblings will become an alpha. So before they reach to full potential, our alpha kicks them out. These bachelors, the young lions, they form gangs, small gangs, and then they keep wandering around different territories. Whereas the previous lionesses, they have their own territory. They remain in the territory. They hunt and eat the prey from that territory. Now the bachelor lions, they go from territory to territory in search of other prides. So these are bands of bachelors. You can see that even in human societies too, when you find several bands, they tend to become mischievous, roguish, and that is when many crimes, heinous crimes, actually also happen, harassing other women and many other things. Individually, usually I think young boys are fine, but when they gang up, that is when many things happen. Even recently, also we had to read a story about how some heinous crimes are happening. Majority of them are these groups or gangs. This, in a similar way, or in an instinctive way, the lions that were kicked out of the pride, they go in search of territory from one territory to the other territory. And when they see a pride, then it's kind of hatching a plan. Say, for example, if there is a pride somewhere else and there is an alpha in that, there is one single male. And here we have bachelors, which are a team, say two or three, and they will try to together they make three times stronger, right? And they attack the alpha. Occasionally, the alpha may receive support from the females, especially if they are having small cubs, then they may defend their alpha from the attacks from the outside males. But sometimes it's not possible when the main alpha is, say for example, the alpha that we are talking here is you say old, very old, then by no means it can defend itself. It cannot defend the pride. And in that cases, even the females do not help the male as much. And then this alpha will have a fate so bad. And it will be killed. It may get severely injured or it has to run away. Sometimes, even when there is no attack from the outside, the females of the pride will kill the male. Sometimes, on rare occasions, this is one from safari, African safari, I think. It was caught on camera where all the females, the lionesses, ganged up and killed the male lion. If it is not death directly at the hands of other lions or lionesses, the alpha, will have to leave the pride and live by itself. As the age catches up, the abilities will drop down, and then slowly it cannot find any food. It will starve and die out to be eaten by scavengers such as hyenas and vultures. Okay, that's as long as you are in the alpha position, you have innumerable facilities and opportunities, reproductive rights, and so on. But once that position is gone, it's like you are a nobody. That's what it is to be an alpha lion. And what happens to the newly? Where were we here? We had an alpha, and the alpha had lionesses, and this alpha was kicked out by the incoming new bachelors. Okay, so these lionesses may be having some cubs. So the new alpha, so I'll put it as new alpha. What does it do? They first go and kill all the cubs. Sometimes the mothers try to defend their cubs, but it's not always possible. The killing of these infants or the cubs is called as infanticide. That is killing of the infants. The mothers should be very angry at these males. And why is this infanticide even happening in the first place? The problem is, as I started this whole story, for the male and female, the goal is reproduction, right? Everybody wants to reproduce and give rise to offspring and then ensure that they grow and so on. But here, the males have come in and they have just one and they want to have reproductive rights. But then, as long as these cubs are present, the females will not mate with them. They're not ready for ovulation and pregnancy and so on. Their hormonally it's controlled. So the only way for the males to have kids of their own, okay, if they were raising the already ousted the king that is the alpha that has been defeated, it's no use to them. So the inbuilt instinct is to have kids of their own, and that is not possible because of these infants, because of which the new alpha they kill the cubs that are available, that are there, young ones, and those mothers should be very angry and upset with the new alpha. But then, in a matter of day or 2 days, the females will go to the new alpha and start mating, courtship and mating. Why does it do that? The alpha has killed her cubs, but still the female is going to the same killer of its children and starting to mate. It's like this. The cubs that were killed are gone, and it is the instinctive response of this female to reproduce and have progeny of her own. That is possible if only the mating occurs between the male and the female. And for that mating to happen, or the best available one, is the new alpha. And it is the new alpha because it's strong enough. It is strong enough to defeat the previous alpha. And then again, new progeny comes until this alpha is killed or sent away. The problem is, why is such so twisted and horror-filled story here of killing of old ones, killing of young ones, killing of strong ones, killing of everybody? Why should it be so much? And why so much of twisted stories in how a female would go to mate with a killer of her kids? I mean, if you think of these things, you'd also encourage us to think of our own lives. What is happening? What are we doing? And why is this? Why is nature so filled with so much of horror? There are good stories. We always see good stories. But what about stories like this? How do you answer such things at all? And I'm not going to answer this question because it is how you sense it. It can be subjective. But what I would want to see is the story of whatever we have seen, the why is for quality, right? And the first thing, of course, will be for propagation. As I said before, every animal, every individual organism will try to, other than humans in some cases, will try to propagate, that is, reproduce. And in that reproduction, while doing that, we, the organisms just don't want any reproduction. They want good quality so that they might last longer. It's all for the quality of existence. That's what is essence uh, of life or whatever is happening in this world. It's about quality of existence. That's what we also try, right? What we call as quality of life. Why are we studying? Why are we doing well? Why do we want to earn money? Everything is to improve the quality of life. And every organism is about quality and, of course, duration first. Duration and quality of existence. This is all this rumble that we have seen, killing and this mating and all those stuff, is to is nature's way of genetic engineering. What does it do? Life is engineering at its best because if you look at every aspect from the level of genes or molecules, cells, organ systems, and even organs itself, or even populations, you can see that this kind of rumble always works where evolution is working to improve or to find the best things possible that will survive, right? You can always see different structures, different functions, everything, anything that increases the fitness will last longer, hopefully. Okay, that's what is that's what the story of the essence of all stories in the nature. You can take it as plants, animals, every organism, every propagating entity, including viruses, plasmids, and so on. I want to take a step back or take a side step to discuss about what is human, right? What are humans doing? We have, we will find a boy, okay, with a good hairstyle, and we'll find a female, a girl, okay. I hope you will be able to recognize them. So a boy has found and a girl is there. First thing is what is the mate selection? If we were if we had culture or similar, we lived like chimps or so, or at the earliest stages, we would have been following the same thing as the lions did, where the strongest would have had all the mating rights and the weakest would not have had in terms of males. The females are not as strong and the brute force actually rules like in the lion's case. But as society grew, things have changed and we have customs, we have many things, and we have come up with the concept of um, two things: marriage and we have come up with the concept of money. Now let's try to make a match between these two people. So we will step back a little bit to we'll get this off. So say for example, this guy should find a mate. Who will who will like him and why should they like him or why should they want to marry this guy? First thing is if this person has a car or not, if the person has a house or not, if the person has a steady income or not. And even if this guy probably lost a hand or two, okay, if he did not have a hand and he has more of these, then the likelihood of this guy finding a mate is very high. And it is, if a female is choosing that, there is nothing wrong in that. I'm not being judgmental about anything. There is nothing called pure and great and all those things. The realities of life are the realities of the person. It's not general, it is highly subjective. If I want to take a step, a different stance, if I were a female, say this is a girl, assume this is a girl, and she wants to get married, and especially in our traditions or cultures, we have the sad thing is how much dowry would you give for a male to be selected? That's sad, isn't it? So the if the if she's her parents are able to afford more dowry, a person with better of these would come. So what I'm trying to imply is first thing is in terms of marriage, even the weakest will get married. Even the ones with defects will also get married. And there is nothing called. We all have defects in at the level of genes. About 4,500 or maybe 5,000 genes, genetic diseases are prevalent in majority of the human population living on this earth now. That's a huge number of genetic defects. And if you know the lifestyle diseases, how many genes we are all, how many pre-genetic, what do you call predisposition, genetic predisposition to many diseases such as diabetes, hypertension, and many things. So that is the later point. Let's come to this one. In lions, we had also selected, selection is based on fitness. In humans, too, it is based on fitness. There is a difference though. In lions, it is biological fitness. In humans, it is social fitness. Social fitness constitutes everything that is related to or arising from money. It doesn't matter what anybody has anything or it doesn't have anything. All we need it is about money. If it is there, then it's all right. If I please be assured that I'm not being judgmental myself about any of these. I am also a part of this. Okay, so only thing is it's sad, and I hope it will change things in the future. Or we will take a democratic view. What is democratic view? Or in a way, it is everybody has some rights, and all should have equal rights to live their dis, fulfill their objectives, biological objectives, free will, instincts, and so on within the limits of the Constitution. There is no somebody stronger, no somebody weaker. Everybody gets equal opportunity. I am completely for that because I myself might be having many of these deficiencies in my genome. I'm not the strongest person. So in democratic approach when we take, okay, because of this social fitness based selection in humans. It's not all over the world, it's not the same way. In different parts of the world, different types of selection occur. I'm talking about what is much more relevant to our own society. So we are, as when we stop bothering about biological fitness, then these kinds of genes will become prevalent in our species. And now it will only get worse if we don't do something about it. And that is where we need to do something at the level of genes, right? We want to do something so that we can reduce the, the problems. We can treat the diseases. We can probably repair the genetic defects. We can probably regenerate tissues and organs that are lost. And to do any of these, we would require two essential things. First one is genetic manipulation. And the second one is stem cell or cell biology. And these together will become a part of regenerative medicine. What is regenerative medicine? It is trying to repair or replace or rectify and try to provide a treatment solution based on by giving what a person has lost or a defective tissue that the person has. It's not like giving a prosthetic or robotic arm, it is like giving a real arm or trying to regenerate it. I hope you understood what I hope I have given you some things to think and ponder upon, so that we know why we are trying to read something like this. What will happen to the future of human species if we continued this and did nothing about these prevalent genetic defects in our system? Okay, so I hope that should be the motivation and the large, I mean, distant view or vision for the for why we are studying. So we are going to do genetic manipulation, and we are not just it's not just about diseases alone, right? We have many things. The problems are multifactorial, and you have to think of it. The factors never end. We are our own disease. That's how we should say, because we are there. We waste water. We consume too much water. How much water does a dog take? A dog might take about 2 liters of water, drinking water alone for 2 days, for it per day. What about humans? We have to wash face, brush teeth, bath, wash clothes, drinking, and so on. That means per day, a person requires about six liters of water, but we use about 60 liters of water. And all the disposed water that goes off from us, the apart from the urine, all the water that goes off is usually mixed with a lot of detergents that spoil the economy, the ecosystem of all the other organisms. We are depleting the groundwater. So there is constant pollution. We need to take away, we need to encroach on the land, space, trees, and everything. And that is how we are killing every other animal. And at one point, may not be enough space for growing plants. And then we may not even have water, and we are the disease of ourselves. And to do any of these to better, it's again, as I said, we are in democracy. Everybody has a right to live and be what they want to be and exercise their biological roles, biological duties or objectives and social duties as well. So unless we do something and at the level of genes, because nature has already perfected many things and has many tools that we can engineer with our intellect and cognitive skills to solve the problems that we are having, right? In my view, all of biology is study of genetic information, or it is the information of, you can say it as um, information technology of life, right? And genetic engineering is an application of it. If we understand the genetic information properly, we can then probably engineer to solve our problems of the current day problems and the future as well. So that makes everything the essence of biotechnology or many of the sciences is through genetic engineering. So genetic engineering is um, we, we need to produce a compound, for example, and then we can do it using cells. We can chemically synthesize many things, but by the time we make it, we would have caused more problem than our pollution and other things or expenditure. Then what life would have been able to do it very easily, right? We when we mix two different genetic elements, there is a consequence, and we mix in such a way that the consequence is favorable or is desirable. That is genetic engineering. I'll just skip this. It's the same thing. So our immediate goals are for humans is to increase the quality of food, quantity of food, and I mean, I hope you know that how much these have changed the population of Homo sapiens. The average for life was about 42 years of human life was about 42 years, very long time ago, some 200-300 years ago. And once the vaccines and antibiotics were invented and people started using, now I think the average lifespan is about 65 years, right? And what in the future, what is going to be is our need for gene therapies and regenerative medicine. And especially if you can think of it this way, um, say if there is an individual and the individual has a genetic defect, we have a treatment to that. And this person marries a girl and they may have children, and then the children may also have the genetic defect. We can provide treatment. Again, that person would be married to somebody and the children will have the, we can treat them. Imagine if we keep on going like this. We are one way, we are increasing the number of people with the genetic defect. And second thing is the costs associated to treat this disease every generation. What if, what if we could treat the the germplasm of this person, repair this gene in this person, such a way that the offspring would not have this disease? Then we have solved a lot of a big problem, the pain that these individuals have to go through. We would have saved a lot of money that is involved in this. You should be, yeah, I think maybe in 100 years, every child, every individual will have to maintain a clear cut medical report because they are going to have one or the other disease. I mean, if not 100 years, maybe we should count in terms of generations. Maybe in 6 or 7 generations or 10 generations more, it's likely that we would have had all the genomes would have been having at least one or two genetic defects that could affect the quality of life of that person, right? So that is where gene therapy and regenerative medicine are the future of medicine. Anything we want to do in the future to save to save the species, our species, or just to sustain these diseases, these technologies, gene therapy, regenerative medicine, along with stem cell biology, would become the uh, would become essential part of every society. Okay? So when we do these things, we are supposed to, I mean, in terms of medicine, you can use it for um, diagnosis, treatment, repair, and regeneration. And when we are trying to do any of these, we should have it. It should be very efficient. It should be we should be able to produce it in large scale. The quality or efficiency should be this good. It should be economical, and the approaches that we come up with should have minimal side effects, and we should have it should be self-sustaining in the sense that we should be able to keep on doing it for a while. The approaches that we might take for the future. So I don't think we will talk about this central dogma on genetic engineering, but I want to give you a heads up that we will all have an assignment on molecular genetics or molecular biology. I'm sure you all have read well enough, and I'm sure you understand that if there is no molecular biology or molecular genetics, it's not worthwhile trying to read genetic engineering. I understand that you have studied it already, but it has been a long time ago. Therefore, I would want you to refresh your knowledge on that. I mean, just have a look at it. For that, I will give you an assignment. Um, and I will also post a video. Probably I'm reusing a video that aids you in trying to do this assignment. It's an assignment on molecular biology, and if you finish the assignment, you are likely to have some skills sharpened for competitive exams like GATE and CSAR. So I would want you to do that, and I'm sure it will be very useful to you all. Okay. Um, so I will not take this overview now, but I would want you to go some of the examples that I may have shown, but I will try to show it again. Here is a mouse and its litter mate. One of it is treated with or genetically manipulated by adding an extra copy or extra gene of human growth hormone. And you can see that the one engineered one is so big compared to the other one. These are some of the proofs of principles. Some of them are useful, some of them are just for demonstrating the capacity of what can be done. Okay. And here is a flower which are genetically manipulated with the receptor to ethylene. Ethylene is a plant hormone that causes ripening of fruits and also wilting of flowers. So they made a plant with a receptor that's not so responsive to ethylene, because of which these flowers stay for at least 3 weeks on the shelf. You're increasing the shelf life of flowers that should have been sold within 3 days, otherwise, they would have been a waste of money. Now they can stay in the on shelf if you are selling it for at least 3 weeks. That's a lot of improvement. That is how just manipulating or twitching a little bit with the genome can do. The consequences could be drastic like that. Here are two sets of peas. This is one set and this is the other set. The set in the bottom is treated with or introduced with a gene which is a which encodes a enzyme inhibitor. When these pests or insects they eat that, they feel distasteful or it affects them toxically. So the engineered ones are protected from the being destroyed by the pests. Here you're seeing 4 different plants. These two are also plants in plots. One of them, these plants, the upper top row ones were actually treated with or genetically engineered to be resistant to glyphosate. a, a weed herbicide that is used. So these are normal ones, the lower ones, they are normal, whereas the top ones are engineered to be resistant to glyphosate. And now when you spray glyphosate on both the types of plants, these will die out, whereas these will grow. So the idea for them is to take a field and use the glyphosate resistant plants in that. And if there are any weeds or herbs that are others growing, you spray glyphosate and all the weeds would be removed out. And here is super salmon tried to increase the fish for eating purposes and so on. It's similar to that of the mouse that we have seen, where they have added growth hormone genes, so because of which the salmon, the wild type is almost like this, and this is what the engineered one looks. It's almost 10 times or so, we can count approximately 10 times the size of it. And here is wonder bull, they call it, because it can produce lactoferrin in its milk. And so when we are drinking that milk, it increases the iron transport for us, iron uptake. It increases the iron uptake from the food nutrition that we are actually having. And finally, we have golden rice, the transgenic rice or golden rice. Um, they included ferritin protein gene. They included phytate, which is responsible for iron reabsorption, and they have included many things. Sulfur to increase iron uptake. This is for reabsorption, and beta carotene to increase. It is the precursor of vitamin A, because of which the yellow color comes here. As such, eating rice is bad. Too much of carbohydrate, and we are eating too much rice. That's not good. How can we reduce it and still get the majority of the things other than the carbohydrate? You can think of uh, the golden rice. I think the production was not up to the mark, the amount of this golden rice produced, but they were able to produce these. Yes, so I think you also know about insulin. We will discuss all these things, so I will skip these. And vaccines, the production of vaccines that we are now. And I have to ask you all to also get vaccinated if I didn't say it. I must have said that. Please try to get vaccinated, stay safe, and I hope when if the college reopens, you can come immediately. And in we are going to learn also about this engineered stem cell therapy, right? We will learn all these things, the technicalities of it, and hopefully some of you will take it up in your future research and benefit from it. These are some of the therapies that are being tried under and clinical trials for gene therapy. Please remember that so far, no no disease, no treatment is completely approved by any body, as much with those that are involving stem cells or this gene therapy based ones for treating diseases. Okay, so these are in a clinical trials. That means the patients will be asked if they want to be part of the experiment, and it is counted as an experiment to see what are the effects and so on. So we are not going to read about all the diseases, biology, and so on, because it will be the same thing. As long as we want to do it, we'll have to then know the biology of it. What we will learn in this course is about how you should think for the problem. It's not going to give you answers. It is rather to give you some technicalities about how to think and how to solve a problem. Right? I hope you are understanding what I meant. No answers will be given in this course. It's all about how you can probably think about it. These are some transgenic animals. Glowfish also should be there. It's not here. And this is a glowing plant. Some of the mice, they put GFP in them, and then you overexpose and they might look like this. Okay, so I'll stop with this. You have 2 minutes to solve this question. Faster. It's just for fun. Anybody? Did anybody solve the question? I don't know. You have to tell the answer. It could be right. It could not. It may not be right. You have to say.
Twenty-seven, sir.
Asking us.
So is it 26?
I don't know. You people should. Okay. I just wanted to. Why I put this up is this thing. I'll stop presenting and I'll just talk. Okay. So my idea. I mean, if you're playing, I would want you to play Sudoku or Minesweeper more. If you're into, they are mental games, isn't it? I mean, chess is also a game. It's a little bit prolonged and so on. Sudoku and Minesweeper and these kinds of puzzles. I would want you to do them more, as much as possible. Anything that is mentally challenging that can keep you engaged for long. It has nothing to do with you memorizing anything at all. It is about you thinking at that moment and try to improve this efficiency of thinking. So in all these, when you say efficiency, it's about two factors. One is accuracy, and the second one is speed. You have to be highly accurate, and you have to be very fast, right? That is what you should be trying to do. So the puzzle that I put up is for that. And majority of the questions that we will have in as part of your internal assessments or even in the final ones are likely to be cognitively challenging. Not that the whole question paper would be that way, but it will be fun as long as you participate along with us throughout this course. Okay, I hope you will all participate because as I said earlier, this is my favorite course and this is my kind of pet course where I hope we will have physical classrooms and that should make it much better. Even if not, I would want that you all participate enthusiastically, and I will send you the first assignment. It's not kind of assignment, but it is it is something to recollect all your things and also prepare you for a little bit for gate and CSCR. It'll be a lot of fun. Okay, any questions? Any questions? What we have discussed today is about the lions, lionesses, and how nature tries or nature works towards the quality and longevity of existence, and what is happening with human selection process, how marriage and money could jeopardize our existence because through infiltration of mutations. And in that case, as students of biology, what is our duty and how we can probably help save the human race. Not just the human race, it can be, if we can save humans, we can save many other animals and organisms. And that is, if bluntly, we have seen some of the examples about how genetic engineering could, how wonderful, or the wonders of genetic engineering, how could they, how potential, the potential of it is what we have seen. If you have any questions on this, I would like to answer. No questions? Okay, then we'll meet in the next class. Take care and have fun. Yeah, bye bye.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, bye everyone.